Unsolicited advice.
What you whispering for? Yo, what's unsolicited advice? Take it or leave it. So you're ready to leave, right? We all get to that point in our lives where we're ready to leave a situation. Usually the hardest part is leaving. You know, you start thinking about the time that you wasted or the money that you wasted, how much it's going to cost to leave and to start all over, and you end up staying. Well, today I'm going to try to help you through that and give you some advice on how to navigate that, and hopefully it'll help you make that decision a little quicker if that's something you choose to do. So the first thing you want to do is you want to assess the situation. You want to clearly identify what you want to leave and when you want to leave or why you want to leave, and the aspects of the situation that are concerning you. So first, you want to make sure that this is what you want to do. And the way you do it is you start asking yourself, why do I want to leave? Why do I want to leave? And what part of the relationship or what part of the situation is concerning me? So have a conversation about that, because you need to decide whether it's something serious or it's not that serious and you're just having one of those days. The next thing you want to do is you want to make a plan. So it's very important to make a plan. So the reason why you want to make a plan is you just don't want to say, I just got to get up and leave. Sometimes it's not that easy. Unless you got a good bit of money, you can just do that anytime you want. Kind of don't work like that. You got to have a plan, because you got to have a place to stay. If we're talking about relationships. If you're talking about a job, you use it the same way, except you need to make sure that you're updating your resume and you have another job to fall back on if you choose to leave this job that you're at. So, you want to make sure that you are following a timeline and you're following steps. And it's all based on how you're going to exit. So if you got, like I said, once you get to that point, you want to gather all your documents. Make sure you got everything. Make sure you have all documents that you would need for this exit. Doesn't matter if it's legal. Doesn't matter if it's mail. It doesn't matter if it's just your driver's license, your social security. You just make sure any document that you're going to need for when you leave that you have. But sometimes you leave, you just up leaving, you forget things. You'd be surprised how much you forget. But yeah, you want to make sure. Securing your finances. You got to make sure you have the money. I just mentioned that. Like, sometimes it's not that easy. You got to make sure you got the money to leave. So make sure you're saving money, or you got some type of emergency fund for reasons just like that. I know I talked about survival earlier, but that's a part of surviving, is saving money. Save that money. I know you want to go on that trip, but what's more important, going on the trip and coming back to some bullshit, or leaving now and getting your peace back? Just saying. Another thing you want to do is make sure you seek support. If you do have trusted family, friends, professional organizations, any type of place that can give you emotional support and guidance, or maybe even a place to stay, you make sure you contact them. Let them know that you might be making some moves pretty soon. This is all part of the plan. You want to make sure you set things up so you're winning and you're not losing. Now, if it's one of those situations where you can't leave, maybe you're married, maybe there's kids involved, you want to consider some type of legal advice, just to make sure that you got all your ducks in a row. If it's just one of those situations where you can't just up and leave, make sure you get some legal advice so you know how to make the right moves. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Sometimes you just want to up and leave, but you can't. You've invested some things that are ironclad, and if you leave, it can make things pretty messy. So in these moments, though, you want to prioritize self-care. Make sure that you're focusing on your mental and physical health because you're obviously at a point of depression. You're obviously at a point of frustration. You're at the end of your rope. So you want to make sure that you stop for a second and say, okay, let me make sure that my mental and my physical health is intact before I approach this situation, because it's a challenging time. You're ready to leave, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, anything. You want to make sure that you're balanced physically and mentally. Practice self-compassion. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be one of those people say, oh, well, maybe it's my fault, or maybe I should have did better. It's like, no, have some compassion for yourself. Acknowledge the difficulty of the situation and be kind to yourself. It's a difficult situation to navigate. So don't beat yourself up about it just because all you're doing is just giving yourself a reason to stay. You're supposed to be, on go right now. It's time to leave. So think about that. But you want to develop some type of exit strategy. You want to make sure that you are leaving. You want to make sure if you do leave that, you got some type of strategy. Everything mapped out. So sometimes you can't just up and leave. But, if you're going to, make sure you set boundaries too. Because, sometimes you might have to sleep on the couch, or you might have to sleep in another room. Set those boundaries. Be clear about your decision too. Don't backslide. Don't be like, well, I don't know, maybe we can talk it out. It's like, no, stand on business. Stand on business. Communicate effectively. Let them know I'm deciding to do this. And even if you're in one of those situations where it's abusive, don't talk. Move in silence. That way they can't sniff it out. They can't map you out. By the time they come home from work or whatever, you gone. Ain't nothing they can do about it. And if all else fails, just seek professional help. Somebody that can help you with this. I'm here to give you advice, but you don't have to listen to me. That's why my show is unsolicited advice, okay? But if you ask me, it's time to leave.